Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the new Maryland Jockey Club at Laurel Park. I'm Dan Ullman, along with Keith Fustel, for a Saturday edition of Today
Yes.
at the Races. 9 on tap today at Laurel Park. The main track is listed as good. Let's quickly talk
Yeah.
about yesterday.
Yes.
Early in the card, speed did very well. First 6 races pretty
Yeah.
much dominated by speed. Something to keep an eye on this afternoon.
Absolutely. It was very, very strong speed. You wanted to be right on the lead, no more than a length or so off of it. We saw Stormy Midnight battled the whole way. She's no uncle. Out to the front, took that pressure. Addie's Laddie TNT. We thought this horse would be rated back. Forest Boys, she pulled us right to the front, nursed along beautifully. That trend continued with Rumen. Balinton, kind of the one that maybe bucked it a little bit later, but I say all in all, when you have to go back and look at those races, yes, give it a speed lean on your bias notes.
Track looks to be drying out a little bit as we take a peek at our weather conditions for our Saturday afternoon card. The main track is good, 34 degrees, winds east at 6 miles per hour. It'll be interesting to see if speed holds again. They've been doing a really good job trying to get this track dried out. We had a lot of horses working this morning, which is very promising.
You commented about a couple horses that looked good to you, right? You had a chance to see some of these horses work. Who kind of caught your eye the most?
Well, we've got some horses for the George next week. I think Celtic Contender was out there this morning. I think he got the bullet, 6 furlongs and 112 over this track. The way this track's been playing, that's a pretty swift time. He's one you might want to keep an eye on leading up to the General George. But we're going to start things off with race number 1. It's a starter optional claimer, a $8,000 starter allowance. $12,000 is the claiming option. 2 scratches in here: the 5 New York Panther and the morning line favorite, the 7 Mr. Jefferson. That leaves us with a field of 5. We're going to start things off, though, with our 12% value pick 5. Low takeout, great bet, 50-cent minimum. Pick the winners of 5 races, score.
I know we're going to get through race 1 because here's our ticket. Okay, I've got a
all ball
$30 ticket. Yeah, we're down to 5. Thankfully, it cheapens the ticket. I really don't have a strong opinion in race number 1. Race 2, we whittled it down a little bit, right? 2 deep with the 4 and the 6. Wrightsville off the return, a digital sale purchase, right, for Claudio Gonzalez. See what this one can do. First time for the barn. Let's go JJ. It's a horse that Rodman might discuss with you a little bit. It's been great, some of the insight he's been bringing from the announcer's booth. Please pay attention. He's tabbed a couple really good runners of late. Race 3. Here's my single, Everett Song. Yeah, I mean, we're going to need some flow up top. I think we're going to get it. This guy is so versatile. He's come back in great form. We'll single Everett Song in race number 3. Race 4, 3 deep with the 1, 2, and 3. I think these inside runners all have upside. Roland Jesse might need that flow. I'm going to stick with 3 in race 4. Wrap it up. 2 deep in the 5th with the 3 and the 5. I'm going to change that. That is my bad, guys. It's 2 and 5. So we're going to bring it back again, 2 and 5. We'll have that later because I really like Shining Spirit. That's one of my better plays on today's card for Mikey Gorham. So 2-5 in race 5 for a $30 ticket.
$30 play, and you're playing for a pick 4 because you're going to be alive to everybody going into the second leg. Your top pick, however, is Delice Vita, the number 6, and we have a video spotlight for Delice Vita's most recent race. It was nice to see this guy get back to winning form.
Oh, yeah, it was really, really good. This is first time off the claim. Robin Graham, not a trainer that claims a lot, so they must have had their eye on this Maryland-bred son of Dortmund. Got the flow up top, 23-147-1. A little bit contested and sustained. Trying to lay in a little bit out there in that 5-6 path, but Forrest does a beautiful job straightening this one out and holds sway laid under a steady hand ride. Protected off the claim, protected again, stretching out. He has experience going 2 turns. Going back this time last year, he really paired up some good numbers. He's not quite what he once was, it looks like, but he might be going back in the right direction.
There are some salty old-timers in this race. Delice Vita is one of them. Coffee with Chris is another, and we do have a trainer's stat for Jose Magana. Second off the claim, good number.
Oh, really?
4 for the last 11, 36%, a $5.82 return on investment. Coffee with Chris, of course, won the Miracle Wood and the Heft as a 3-year-old. He had speed back then. It doesn't seem like the speed is there right now. But last time, and if you want to make an excuse, it was a race. They ran 1, 2, 3 around the track. There was no closing going on. Maybe he was pace compromised.
I think he's going to want to kind of get involved a little earlier today because shorter field kick starting us also brings speed to the table from the inside post. But Coffee with Chris, another one that was protected off the claim, goes second time off the claim now for trainer Jose Magana. Yes, I think he'll be thrusted in the race a little sooner with Weston Hamilton, a jockey. If he needs to be aggressive, can be, and can finish on a horse. Glad to see Weston back. I think Coffee with Chris, you saw that jump in the buyer. He had a couple, 58s, 59s, sprung to a 71 last time against an okay group. I think he'll keep things honest up top.
My top selection is your third pick. That's the number 1, Room Jar, who I think is just getting back to his best distance. They tried him a mile and an eighth last time out, and he was on a really hard chase against Everett Song, who we'll talk about a little bit later on this afternoon. And maybe it was the distance, maybe it was the quality of competition, maybe this horse just likes Monmouth Park. He is 0 for 11 at Laurel, and his best races have come on the Jersey Shore. But that was a quality race. The fifth-place finisher came back to place with a 64 Beyer speed figure. He draws the advantageous inside post with a short run to the first turn. I'm expecting him to be laying close.
I think he can stay within a couple lengths, maybe 2 or 3 out of it into the far turn, because I think that whoever kind of goes is going to try to throttle things down. This horse could get eager maybe behind horses. He's got an 80 Beyer speed figure on the go back. I don't think he's going to get back to that number today. But you talked about the inside draw with this 2-turn shorter field. I think he or Delis Vidi, they're going to be the two. They're going to be tracking the pace. I'm going to hope my 6 finishes. Dan, you're going to hope the 1 finishes. I think the 1's going to offer a little bit more value here in the opener.
6-4-1-3 for Keith, 1-4-6-3 for me. Let's move on to race number 2. 7/8 of a mile. It's a maiden special weight for the older horses, 4, 5, and 6-year-olds. We have a field of 6. This is the kickoff leg of the 50-cent pick 4 races 2, 3, 4, and 5. Keith will be alive in the pick 5. It'll be interesting to see if he goes right back in the pick 4. But in this race, Keith, you do like a horse in here, and that is the number 4, Wrightsville. Now, Wrightsville hasn't been seen in a long, long time, but let's watch his one and only start, part of our video spotlight series.
Now, this is a horse that got away a little bit slowly. There was a little hiccup at the break there. That's why we're going to show you here from the 5/16 pole home. But Wrightsville, all in all, after recovering, was able to kind of generate a steady response down towards the inside of the racetrack back in late April. Hasn't been seen since. Sold at a digital sale, $65,000. This horse is a half to a graded stakes winner, Durante. Okay, the breeding is there. A little question why that horse was in the sale. Purchased, working, lights out. Certainly it appears to be, with a slew of bullets. Looking at the field, not a ton of true speed. Coringa, I guess, will go. The blinkers come back off, and Karma's in the house. These two will give targets to Wrightsville. But if they're going to strike, coming back as a first-time gelding, you better strike right now, it looks like to me.
And it might be just simply the right spot for Wrightsville. You saw he was very, very game to finish second in that race behind a horse Haley's First Notion that worked this morning. Came back out of that race to win a first-level allowance at Delaware with a 73 Beyer. But it is worth noting, off that performance, the next month sells for $65,000. Next month after that, a vet scratch. Tried to come back in December, vet scratch again. Really has good wet track pedigree, though. The Candy Rides excel. We'll see what we get from Wrightsville. Something tells me the tote will tell the story. We do have a trainer stack on our second pick. That's the 6. Let's Go JJ. Horacio de Paz had a winner yesterday. Second-time starter. Blinkers on. Good number. 4 for the last 9. 404.
44% strike. That's really, really strong. I thought this horse ran pretty well in debut. Muddy sealed surface, kind of what he's going to get today. McLean's Music. They don't mind a little moisture in the racetracks. So this is a 4-year-old. A little bit later to the races. Was able to work an inside-out trip. Did save ground around the turn. Stayed on that left lead, but was willing enough. Jazeel, that winner, has come back to run a couple good numbers. So I think Let's Go JJ with that experience. The stat puts him into a must-use situation in your exactas.
And I like the fact that they're putting the blinkers on, not only for the stat, but because he didn't change leads in the stretch. Maybe it will help him focus. He didn't get away the best from the inside post. I like him breaking outside. You mentioned Jazeel, 77 Beyer, when placing in a state-sired allowance in his very next start. Pilot Comet is a horse that was odds-on last time out, finished third in a race where he was wired. That was a good race. It produced a couple of next-out winners, and the winner did come back to run third in a first-level allowance with a 74 Beyer. Does it concern you that this horse has already had 10 tries and may lack the upside of some of the others?
It certainly does. I mean, I think 7/8 is the right distance. He doesn't have a big flashy move in him. He hasn't shown it yet, and he's a 5-year-old. You know, getting up there. He's going to draw plenty of play. These Perkins horses draw lots of money. I think if you're looking for the value horse to key in here, it's probably the 6. Let's go, JJ. I do think looking at those works, the Fig works for Wrightsville. They're going to draw play along with Coringa. Maybe the 6 is your value shot to go top and bottom in the exactas.
What do you make of Coringa? Second start off of a lengthy layoff. The horse was hammered down to 1 to 5 off the bench, showed big speed, went a quick first quarter in 22 and 2. And maybe considering that fast pace and the layoff, it's understandably tired. The blinkers are coming off. Do you think that's a sign that Trombi wants this horse maybe to relax a little more?
I certainly would think so, because 22 and 3, that's pretty sharp and out there. Clear at 2.5. I still thought this horse would beat that field. Did not. That's what's a little disturbing to me. Second time Lasix blinkers off. Maybe those little tweaks will get this one to the winner's circle.
We're both going to go 4, 6, 1, 5 in race number 2. See what Wrightsville has off of the lengthy layoff. Let's move on to race number 3. We're going 1 mile and a 16th, 8,000 starter allowance with a $12,000 claiming option. We've got 7 in here. Everett Song is the 2-to-1 morning line favorite, and Everett Song has returned off of a recent layoff in very sharp form. We have a video spotlight of Everett Song's most recent race. He looked good in here, going 1 mile and an 1/8. He was able to get right up close to the pace. We're going to see Agaramese Puedes come up for second, but Everett Song was strong.
Yeah, and you're talking about the Claudio horse, the 3 horse today, did not have a strong enough flow maybe to get into. Will have it. But I tell you what, Everett Song, he's versatile. Now, he hasn't come back to the numbers he once had, but perfectly managed here by trainer Hugh McMahon. Weston's gotten along with him great. I love this. He looked so good on the racetrack last time warming up. 3-1 I thought was super generous on this runner. I think he's tough right back. I think Cloud Music, Spear Gun to the inside along with Morning Thoughts and Quincannon, they're going to get out there in front of him. As long as Weston's patient through that opening quarter of a mile to draft in, save a little ground, I think he follows it right up with another win today from off the pace.
Yeah, I think he just follows Cloud Music right out of there and tries to tuck in behind. Quincannon's going to show some speed.
Yeah.
I do think that Everett Song's going to work out a good trip. He got a little bit drifty under left-handed urging. Didn't seem to like that left-handed popping, but he is just a very strong and logical contender in race number 3. Your second choice in here is Agaramese Puedes. There's going to be pace for him this time.
I love it. He's just steady. He's not, he's got to run a little bit faster, I still think, to win. I think things will just come back to him through that final quarter of a mile.
Walkaway Joe is a horse that's been in the exacta 23 of 56 starts, and perhaps most importantly, first time off the J. Ness claim.
And that's they must have liked something about this South Carolina bred by my man down there, Franklin Gorey Smith. He's just been steady. Again, he's not a super flashy kind of a horse, Walkaway Joe, but you talked about in the money, 23 of 56, phenomenal. He's getting close to 300,000. He just might get there at the age of, what is he, 8 years old now? Again, he's had a really, really good, honest career. Maybe a little wake up on this barn change.
I'm curious to see what we get from Cloud Music. We have not seen this horse in a long time, and you usually don't put away horses that have won 3 in a row and wasn't headed in any of those races unless something went awry. I thought maybe this horse was aided last time out by a speed-friendly track. They ran 4 races on the dirt at Pimlico. You had to be on the lead. This horse got punished by the stewards at the end, but he was in really good form at that point in time, and I wonder if Quincannon takes a bad seat. Mena and Gorham have been doing well. Perhaps Cloud Music get to the top.
Yeah, riding a little wave with this jockey-trainer combination. Very good right now, but I do think Spear Gun can kind of go. And Quincannon was very sharp from that outer post going the one-turn mile. This is kind of a sneaky horse that's really made leaps and bounds and an improvement. I think Quincannon can kind of tuck in and get position. And 6-1, 8-1, because I think he might fall through the cracks against a couple of these.
Let's start things off with race number 4 now, and it starts off several multiple race wagers. 6 horses in this mile and a 16th event for 3-year-olds. First level allowance with a $62,500 claiming option. The 4-gun trader Michael Sanchez is aboard. This is the first leg of the 20-cent Chesapeake Pick 6. It is a jackpot wager, and it is also the first leg of our 50-cent late Pick 4. Pick the winners of 4, 5, 6, and 7 and get paid. Again, 50-cent minimum on the Pick 4. Let's talk a little bit about Mr. Mendelslew. Carlos Mencia obviously thought a lot of Mr. Mendelslew when you debut this guy in the hopeful, and it didn't work out. And maybe it just took a few starts for Mr. Mendelslew to get his confidence back, and if that's the case, This is what's known as a confidence builder. We have a video spotlight for Mr. Mendelsloh, and he just dominates these $30,000 maiden claimers.
Big field. Field of 12. Got position early, 3 deep. You see the comment. Ask upper stretch. Doing it well within himself. Eternal's good enough for me when you're looking at these younger horses going the 1-turn mile. And when, push came to shove here, Maina says, let's go ahead and go. And boy, did he go. Opened up 8, 9 past mid-stretch. Under, asking to the wire, but the light bulb, it went on in a real bright fashion for Mr. Mendelsloh. Here's a stat.
That was first-time Lasix for Mr. Mendelsloh. Good news for Carlos Mencia fans. Second-time Lasix, just as good. 3 for the last 15, $2.32 ROI. Where is Mr. Mendelsloh going to be in the early portion of this race? I don't think there's a ton of speed. No. I think Maina can go.
Yeah, go, get position, and just kind of peek back a little bit as you're midway around that first turn. Top Blood's interesting. This is a horse that I believe Dave Rodman likes a lot today. Jose Corrales' barn, Arojo, that combination very good together. This one has flashed some ability. Last time out, overland trip, but kicked away in dominating fashion. Comes back with Lasix. I think he's a player here. All the hard way is going to take, I think, most of the play. You've got this one line, it's 7-5, rightfully so. I think Top Blood, Mr. Mendelsloh, they're going to have to make another jump like the 2 did with first Lasix. I think they're definitely capable here today.
Well, it might have been Lasix and just experience for Mr. Mendelsloh. I think it was distance for Top Blood.
Yeah.
They got him out to 2 turns. They found the right spot. He looked very good. I'm a little concerned that field hasn't come back strong just yet. 6 next out runners. None have hit the board with the best buyer speed figure of 42. He was listed as a vet scratch on December the 28th, but he has been coming back to working quickly. All the hard ways I do think is the horse to beat because this 2-time winner has early speed, should be capable at the mile in a 16th, and was in against a real toughie last time out in Pay Billy. And he tried his heart out that day. Pay Billy got away with a nice, easy pace, 48 seconds to the half, sprinted on home. All the hard ways tried hard all the way down to the wire, and he might not have to work as hard on a chase this time.
And the way I always look at kind of visualizing the breaking down the internals, I think we're very similar in the way we look at these setups. Okay, you're looking at the 3/4 split time, 13-4 at the mile. Mendelsloh last time, 14 and a click. Variance, a little heavier track for Mr. Mendelsloh, but all the hard ways, I don't think they're going to get away from him. I don't think he's going to have to be asked as hard as soon. I think, yes, he's going to be right with that flow, leaving the 3s. This is a shorter field. It's a fun race, though. I like race 4.
Well, there are promising horses in this race. Yes. We'll quickly touch upon our 4th picks. Roland Jesse is your 4th selection. He's a horse that needs some pace up. He doesn't have a lot of speed, and I just don't think that race was run to suit him last time out, where they sped up the second part, and he was outrun. And then he did come with a little bit of a late bid for 4th.
Yeah, and he's run well behind best friend Rocket, but he's going to need a couple of these to get engaged early. He's going to want to see 47, maybe a click, lower 48 for the half. But if he's not rolling past the 5/16 to the quarter, it's going to spell some trouble, I think, for this runner. But, man, he popped a really good race 2 races back. See if he can come back to it.
Gun Trader is slow on paper, but dropping out of 2 stakes races, and he was chasing a pretty fast-paced sprinting last time out. 23.04 first quarter, 23.51 second quarter. We saw Crab Daddy, the runner-up, come back to run second in the spectacular bid with a 73. A little class relief will do this horse a little bit of good. We are 4 down. We've got 5 to go. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the first leg of the 12% low takeout value pick 5.
Baltimore! To the city of Baltimore, to all the fans watching around the world, riders up!
They're off in the Preakness.
All eyes of the world will be on Baltimore.
They're head and head. Seabiscuit leads by a length. Seabiscuit is the winner.
And it was a powerhouse race again by the big, strong Secretariat.
Sunday Silence takes the lead at the quarter pole.
American Pharaoh, phenomenal in the Preakness. And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra! Here is Smarty Jones. He wins the Preakness by a dozen lengths.
She's the brave, wins the Preakness.
Welcome back to Today at the Races. Time to kick off the second half of our card with race number 5. 12,500 claiming event, non-winners of 2 life. We're going the 1-turn mile with a long stretch to the second wire. The 4 Fire at Midnight is scratched. Before we dive into this field, however, it's worth noting this is the kickoff leg of the Value Pick 5. 12% takeout, carryover potential, of course, in the late Pick 5. And we also have Mackenzie's Pick 5 ticket coming up. 50-cent minimum play. She's going to go with $36 ticket, and she's singling right off the bat.
Woof. Yes, she is. Audibly for trainer Jamie Ness going first off the claim. That's always a pretty good percentage there for Ness and J-Rod. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a bold single. I mean, I can see her. It has to be, I think, 1-2 in here. I think she's going to get a little bit of a setup and make a run. But we're going to keep on going, though. Race 6, 3 deep with the 3, 4, and 8. Trace Aries, Marmara, and Margot's Margarita. Race 7, spreading a little further. 4 deep here. 1, 4, 6, and 8. Looking for maybe Hateful at a good number to make a run with Arojo. 2 deep in the 8th. Boys of Summer and St. Jude. St. Jude even money. May come down a little bit further now with a scratch of the 2 uni winner and wrap it up. 2, 3, and 4. I do like the 2 Hot Stott. We'll talk about that one to wrap things up in race 9 and a good 8-1 morning line. Couple changes for Hot Stott might bring some improvement for this 3-year-old gelding.
Race number 5 kicks off the late Pick 5, and this is a race where pace makes the race.
Yes.
There doesn't appear to be a ton of speed in here. Shining Spirit, the number 2, is going to be stretching back out in distance with a tactical speed to get to the front from Mena. The question is, does this horse want to go a mile?
Yeah, I mean, she ran second at 2 turns, right, on the go back in March. No, I'm sorry, she faded that day. My bad. I thought she was up there a little bit closer, stayed around. She did not. 7/8 of a mile, yes. That's the race I was looking at, the 7 furlong. So I do think at this distance, against this field, it's the combo that works for me. I think the flow is going to be right. I do think South Pacific is a horse, if she wants to go, can kind of go. But Shining Spirit just has enough staying power. She's shown in some races for me, coming off a top last time. On or just off the lead. A little bit like Rumit yesterday, the way J-Rod handled that one for Ness from that inner post position at the 1-turn mile. Let's go ahead and go leaving the chute. We'll take a peek. He was able to get out there and nurse. Horse to the inside, rated back. We'll see what South Pacific does, but I think if need be, Maney can sit just off of it and still get this done.
This horse ran fine at Aqueduct last time out. It was a race where the 2 favorites ran 1-2 around the track, and Shining Spirit kind of got bumped and lost some ground at the start of that race and then was chasing 3-4 wide. All in all, I thought she tried hard to finish 3rd. I do think she's getting to the front in here. She can be a little bit fractious behind the gate. It takes some coaxing to get her into the stalls. Hopefully, she won't expend too much energy before the start. She could be the best speed. I do believe that Max Single audibly is the best closer. Finished ahead of 3 of these rivals last time out when rallying from off the pace, and it's Ness off the claim.
Yeah, proven here at the 1-turn miles, the numbers certainly stack up against the rest of this group. Others are going to have to improve. And like I say, if Shining Spirit kind of gets tangled up with South Pacific and things heat up a little bit more, maybe even Quick K makes an early move and a little Moxie, yeah, things could set up beautifully for this one. But we've got a little stat as well, though, to enhance our selection on Shining Spirit. Trainer Michael Gorham, sprint to dirt route, 4 for the last 13, 31% with a 206 ROI. We like that. I'm around the 2 or 5 in here. These look like the 2 to beat.
I'm with you. I think those are the 2 I'll be concentrating on in my Pick 5 wager. But we do have the number 9 to talk about. A horse that's going to be a price. That's my 3rd pick, My Sugar Boo. And we also have a trainer stat here. This barn does very well first off the trainer switch. 4 for the last 13, $2.69 ROI. This horse didn't do much last time out against Audibly, but also didn't break very well in that race. The blinkers are back on. The Lasix is back on. Maybe My Sugar Boo is ready for some improvement. I like the way Zembron has been riding.
Yes. He's now a 5-pound apprentice, so correct the weight to that one to 117 for the 9. My Sugar Boo and Javier Zambrana out in the clear today. I think this is going to help her chances, no doubt. That's a great stat you picked up for Tony Aguirre. Into the flow, you think, you look back on the page, this horse did have a little bit of speed going 2 turns. One from off the pace when breaking the maiden. stalk and pounce kind of trip, possibly a big number?
I think that's going to be the plan with the blinkers on to try to get a little bit more aggressive. Let's talk about a little moxie breaking from the inside post. Another horse that's run well against this competition, finished ahead of 3 of these rivals last time out, was wired that day by Princess Lucia, who took advantage of an aggressive ride in a paceless race. A lot of moxie is going to be close.
I just like the improvement. I think she's moving in the right direction. She's going to have to pick it up another length or two. Maybe not a strong win candidate for me, but certainly underneath to complete your exactas tries in Super. A user for me, Tori Alba here for Tim Keefe.
A Chica for Tequila is my 4th selection. Came from off the pace to win against 15,000 maiden claimers. Went in for the Maryland bred condition. This is a tougher spot.
Had a great setup that day to get it done.
Let's move on. Race number 6 is at 1 mile. It has a field of 9, and it's a pretty competitive group of maiden claimers. 12.5 down to 10. Maryland breds eligible for the $15,000 maiden claiming price. It is the first leg of our late pick 4. 3 pick 4s today at Laurel Park. 50-cent minimum on the pick 4. And we're going to start off our conversation with the morning line favorite. That's the 8, Margot's Margarita. A horse has taken a pretty big drop in class. We've got a video spotlight from Margot's Margarita's most recent race.
Yeah, there's some trouble right off the bat. A little bump and a force out. You see the 7 horse that particular day comes out, gives her a pretty good shot. Jockey Matilda Burnham, gets this one to recover a little bit and settles back off the pace. Had a lot to make up, though, after that early adversity at the 7/8 of a mile. Going a mile today, I think it's going to work. Looking at the breeding, suggest, okay, this 1-turn mile should be fine. Made a sneaky little move in that race around the turn, just couldn't quite sustain. A drop here in class could really pick her head up. And she doesn't have to really – you look at her numbers comparatively, she's the horse to beat when you look at it at a buyer scale.
I thought Burnham, all in all, after that bump at the start, gave this horse a very nice ride, was able to save every inch of ground, cut the corner into the stretch. And I just think those horses were way too tough. The 4th-place finisher came back and aired when dropping down to 12.5, won by multiple lengths with a 58 buyer speed figure. We'll see what Margot's Margarita does, but from a buyer speed figure standpoint, from a class standpoint, she certainly fits. We do have a trainer stat in here for the number 4, Marmara, who we both have in the mix. Look at that Kieran McGee stat. 2nd time Lasix, 6 for the last 12, $6.20 ROI. This filly is slow, but maybe 2nd time Lasix moves her up a little bit. She was in against that runaway that Margot's Margarita was in against New Boots.
She was behind Why Not Grace, Trace Arias, Missy's Matt, but you're talking about that stat speaks volumes. And looking at the breeding, good enough. A little moisture in the track. I think this one's going to be okay. I'm going to toss that first race. Now going 3rd time blinkers for McGee. Again, I think it's going to bring some value in here. Should be in that 5 to 6 range of what you have her lined.
Zambrana had the call on both the 4 and the 5 on the early overnight. Goes with Marmara and Kieran McGee. Let's talk about the 3, Trace Aries, a horse that's been in very, very good form for Linda Albert. Runner-up in the last 2. Do you think maybe she moved a little bit too soon just as the pace began to quicken up last time out? She finished ahead of 3 of these.
Yeah, made that move into it. Had a little adversity around the first turn. You see that comment that we've got there. Steady first turn, regrouped, made a little run. They were going, 17 and change. That track was slower that particular afternoon. To me, she's the stayer in here. She's proven to stay the distance. And again, very difficult to leave out of the exactas tries and supers. Looking at those last 2 races, going 2nd time Lasix today, I think can get enough forward position in here and bring a finish.
If not outright on the lead, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up there. Let's talk a little bit about the number 6, Feistiness. Just didn't get the trip last time out. Maybe this horse has been a little bit of a disappointment, but I think you can pick apart her races and make excuses.
And and going 2nd time Lasix, inside last time at the 2 turns, check, bump, packed it in. That was it. Folded up. See you later. This is my final shot. I've taken a couple shots at Feistiness because I thought the debut was encouraging enough at Parks over the muddy sealed surface. Going to get possibly a similar surface today. This is the one I want to see just go ahead and go. If she breaks cleanly, try to send. Let's get it done. There's family of routers in here, so I'm taking a shot. One final shot for me with the 6, Feistiness.
6, 3, 8, and 4 for Keith. 8, 3, 4, and 1 for me. In race number 6, the kickoff leg of our 50-cent late pick 4. Let's move to race number 7. We're going the classic distance of 5.5 furlongs, 7,500 down to 6. This is a beaten claimer. We have a field of 8 in here, and this is a pretty evenly matched matched group. Lavisa on the outside is the second choice at 3-1. And what I really like about Lavisa is not only this outside attack post position, but the fact that she has tactical speed. Yeah. We have a video spotlight for her most recent race where she was in there with Sapphire Beauty. Lavisa ran really well.
Yeah, she's back in the clear again today. Now, I don't know if she's going to be able to get away and clear from this field. You've got bad connection. Sweet Heidelberg, even Cora's Choice, can bring some speed to the table. I think Sapphire Beauty will set up shop. But she's shown the ability to sit just off of it and move. I think confidence builder here on that drop-in class last time out. Got beat by a horse going from open company, Genie and Abrado, into the condition. Yes, I think here, 5.5, she breaks cleanly. She's up with the float. She stays around. I don't have her, as my top selection, but I think she's a player from start to finish.
Now, the pace was legitimate in that race, and then she got beat by an underrated rail skimmer, and Genie and Bridal, who had been compromised by some tough trips. The fourth finisher from that race came back to place with a 57 buyer. I do think a horse that we don't have in there could be the speed. That's Bad Connection down on the inside coming in from New York, and this horse has faced decent company. The third place finisher last time came back to run second in a dime starter with a 57 buyer. It'll be J-Rod, and I think he's got to go.
Yeah, a two-back race. Wolf of the Czar. That's a horse that ran around here, didn't she? I think
sharp form as well.
Yeah, she better be on her toes though. I know it's 10,000 open now to the condition. She's got to be tied on right from the get-go. Sweet Heidelberg, she's shown the ability to turn back in distance and run well, so I think she's into it as well. For Jose Corrales, we both agree. We really didn't discuss this race. I said something to you later yesterday. I said, I'm chasing Utterly Enchanting again. You said, so am I.
And listen, she was not good last time out.
No.
She was 4 wide after the opening quarter mile in that race. She was 4 wide on the turn. She just didn't finish with the kind of oomph that we expect from a horse like Utterly Enchanting. And at the age of 10, you always wonder, are they starting to get a little bit long in the tooth? She's going to get pace in this race, I believe. And the last time she ran 5.5 was 3 starts back, and she came with a big kick to finish second to a very sharp odds-on anonymously who would be heavily favored in here.
And she kind of fooled me a little bit last time. She started making a little run from the 3/8 to the quarter. I'm like, okay, she'll run these horses down. And she just flattened out like a pancake the last 1/8 of a mile. Let's see if there's a little bit more sustainability for Utterly Enchanting. Give her another shot today.
Let's talk a little bit about Sweet Heidelberg.
Okay.
I know Dave Rodman likes this horse a little bit. Jose Corrales had a couple of winners yesterday. This horse is really cutting back in distance from a mile to 5.5 furlongs, but she's done it in the past. She's won going from a mile to 5.5, and she's pretty quick as well.
And again, look at that wet track record, 3 for 3. The moisture stays here. You got to pay attention. Corrales, he's sharp. This mare, I think she's got ability enough. If he really wants to go ahead and go and send her, she can stay close enough. We've cashed some bets on Sweet Heidelberg. We liked her last time into the mix, and she didn't really let us down at that 16-1 number.
Sapphire Beauty is a horse with a lot of seconds and thirds on her page. It's got to be frustrating for the connections. Frock Barn's been going well.
Yes.
I'm going to settle for another minor award.
Yeah, right there with Aim behind Lavisa. Just didn't quite kick on with that one. 5.5 works. Tori Alba certainly can work out a trip. Yeah, another one. The numbers aren't glaring. She can pop. She ran that 62 races back. I think she likes going to like the trip she's going to get, because I think the horses just to her inside are going to try to go ahead and go. Tori Alba, if he's kind of saving ground past the 5/16 with a little bit of run, she definitely can be tough in here.
You're going to go 7, 2, 8, and 4. I'll go 7, 2, 5, and 1. Chasing Utterly Enchanting yet again. Late double time begins with race number 8, 7/8 of a mile. First level allowance, $49,000 is the purse. 4-year-olds and up. Let's take out the 2 uni winner. We're going to have a heavy favorite in here, and that's going to be the number 6, St. Jude. And St. Jude doesn't run often. He's 6 years old. He started 3 times. He came off yet another layoff in his most recent race, and he had the misfortune to take on a good one in Worcester. We've done a video spotlight for St. Jude's most recent start. And listen, he ran really well. He didn't have the greatest of beginnings. You see, he got bumped off stride here, leaving the gate, breaking from the 4-hole. He's going to watch it again, breaking from post 4, just smashed by the horse to the inside. Worcester really fires, and he's a horse that I won't be surprised if he's in next week's General George, but he's down inside. Just watch St. Jude just lengthen his stride in the stretch. I thought he was really running at the end.
Yeah, I think 7/8, and looking at the makeup of him, I know we've only seen him a couple times, but 7/8 works, and he was striding out. And you're chasing some good horses. I mean, Swifty Devil's all right. He's no slouch in his own right. And this winner was just really too good this particular afternoon. But you look at him. He's focused here past the 8th pole, trying to shift out a little bit his J-Rod to get him off that inside to make the run. Dead game chase to the wire.
No, he is charging hard, and Worcester came back to win with a 91 buyer in his final prep, perhaps for the General George. But it's not a one-horse race by any means. We do have a video spotlight on the 4, Beaver State. This is a race from two starts back at Aqueduct, where he earned a solid buyer speed figure of 83. And this is another situation. He was really firing in the stretch.
Yeah, he was really firing. I like this around the turn. Look at the jock. Franco confidently handled, just in hand, relaxed. He's got that kind of bigger build, this horse, Beaver State. He's got experience over this racetrack. And when the jock says go, let's go ahead and go. And he finishes off beautifully, 3.5 in front by the time they hit the wire. Kept to his business. Last time out, it was a salty A other than that first level allowance in New York. You know, had to be. This horse off of that race goes off 17-1. And you know what? When the gates open, he got in a little bit of a quandary early. A lot of kickback. I sent a video out yesterday kind of looking ahead to the day about Beaver State. I think at a 5-1 morning line, worth a shot coming back here to Laurel. I think he sits the trip just off of Swifty Devil, who's a go for me from the outside with Gorham.
Kentucky Invader, Cathedral Beach is up next, and we have seen horses ship in from Kentucky do very well over this surface. We do have a trainer stat. This barn does well, second off of the claim, 25%, a big return on investment. And this guy was in against some decent horses over a sloppy track at Churchill last time out. The runner-up came back to win a starter allowance / first level allowance option at Oaklawn with an 85 buyer.
Yeah, this guy's been a popular claim. Claimed, 3 out of his last 5 or 6 starts. Cathedral Beach freshened up. We saw this barn come in with a runner a week or two ago that ran well enough. Yeah, pay attention out of some key races down there.
Good to see St. Jude, though, back without yet another long layoff for start number 4. We'll see what we get out of him at a short price. He's my top pick. I go 6-3, 4-5. Keith's going 4-5, 6-3. Let's wrap things up. Race number 9, 3/4 of a mile, 30,000 down to 24 maiden claimers. Maryland breds eligible for the 37.5. Big scratch in here. The 5, Bernie the Star, was going to be favorite and was going to be the main speed in this race. And with Bernie the Star out, it opens things up a little bit. Let's talk about your top selection. The number 2, Hot Stot, who was my original top selection. I made a change. I see you have him on top. I'm beginning to get worried.
Showed a little bit of tactical speed 2 races back. They bumped that horse up to maiden 45s. After that encouraging try, second behind Artillery Gunner, who I think is a horse we all think has got some talent for Hammy Smith. Last time out, they went very fast. This horse just ran very spotty. Showed a little flash early, dropped back, was under a stout ride around the turn. Picked it up sneaky good the last 1/8 of a mile and through the gallop out. It caught my eye. I know beating 9. Blinkers on, Lasix on, a little drop. This guy is a half to the horse in the race prior, Swifty Devil, and we've seen what he can do.
He's getting Lasix, he's getting blinkers, he's a half to a nice horse, as you mentioned. Go to Laurel Park's YouTube page, Maryland Jockey Club. Watch the head-on replay for Hot Stot. He was so far back you didn't see it on the pan, but he was over in behind horses, and I don't really think Angel had an opportunity. He wouldn't have won anyway, but he was running, and he galloped out really well after the fact. I think he's a lot better than he looks on paper, and it'll be a decent price. Night Preacher, the 4, going second off a little bit of a layoff for John Salzman. This horse has tactical speed, and maybe it's just simply a situation that if Blow By Him doesn't go to the front, Night Preacher does, and maybe Night Preacher is in front turning for home.
Yeah, I think so. He might inherit the lead here with a scratch at Burning. So I think Blow By Him will lay close and enough, but Night Preacher, I think second off here, stretching out a little bit. We'll try to go to the front and take him a long way. I thought the 6, General Maximus, ran pretty good. Did not have the easiest of trips. You see that short comment that we have. Tight start, 5 to 4 wide, move, fade. That's the Mr. Mendelsloh race you saw earlier, and he had no option but to just try to go get him if he's going to go win. He made that bold run, far turn to about the, I'd say, head of the lane. Just couldn't quite sustain. Faded that last 1/8 of a mile. Back to 6, second off the claim. Gets a good tracking spot from out here with Zambrana. I think this horse is going to be tough.
2, 1, 6, and 4 for Keith. 4, 2, 1, and 3 for me in the finale at Laurel Park. Let's take a look at some value plays for this afternoon. Keith, You're going with Beaver
Yeah.
State. He's going to be a value play, and if he runs the figs from 2 and 3 back,
Yes.
he's got a big shot.
I think he will. I think he's coming back to a track he's familiar with, to the company. Yeah, I mean, St. Jude's good, Swifty Devil. It's a nice field. It's a shorter field, but a cleaner break will get him into the action. You might see him even take back, go around Swifty Devil and go ahead and prompt. We'll see second time in a row St. Jude, if he brings a little bit more speed, does he try to go? But I think this horse has the perfect tracking style and finishing style at 7/8 to get it done in this A, other than an okay. I think we can still get an okay price.
I had a lot of problems coming up with a value play today. I do think All the Hard Ways might be the most likely winner. I also think that horse is going to take money. I kind of like Shining Spirit a little bit. I know you like that horse
I do
stretching
like
out.
her.
Margot's Margarita. It's just such a big angle dropping in class in maiden claiming races, especially when you have the fig edge. 2-1 on the morning line, not the most enticing in the world. Maybe we drift up to 5-2-2.
Okay.
25 minutes to post for race number 1 here at Laurel Park on a Saturday afternoon. Main track currently listed as good. Callie Francois, Mackenzie Pfeiffer, Dave Rodman. They'll take you through the afternoon. And speaking of the great Dave Rodman, let's go upstairs for some scratches and changes.
All right, good luck.